Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to Certification Basics. We'll be getting started in just a few minutes. In the meantime, take a look around, and I will see you soon. Good afternoon and welcome to Certification Basics. I'm Meg Foley. I'm your host for this program, and I appreciate you joining me for this walk through how to get from your interim to your full certification. What you see in front of us is the BBS website. This is the address you need to get to all kinds of resources, and Deb Oler is going to be covering this in much greater detail later this afternoon. For people who are certified, what you most need to know about is the Certifications tab. Here you will find all the applications that you might need: trainee, residential certification, application for full certification, and certification renewals, as well as the exam matrix, and that's true for both residential 1, 2, and 3 family, and commercial or non-residential. And then here are our personnel rules, and that is what we're going to spend a lot of time talking about today. I have also made these available to you on our Code Academy and online education website in our course materials tab. They're also in the forms tab, but I've been informed that the forms tab ones don't actually work. So stick with the materials for right now, or find them right on our website on the certifications tab. But here, let's start with the personnel rules. We updated the personnel rules in April of 2019 to include some additional pathways for some of our certifications and to better specify educational requirements, testing requirements, and to alter the trainee program a little bit. This is a list of all of the certifications that we do certify, you see the interim is listed as separate than the full. However, they are the same certification. If you hold an interim, you are permitted to do the work of the full certification. Except for ESI, anyone who has an interim may still need to take their examinations. ESI has to take their examinations before they're permitted to have an interim, in which case they just attend Code Academy and then they are finished with their interim certification requirements and can move to full certification. These rules specify the ethical codes that you must live by, conflict of interest, not requiring a seal from any of us or authorizing any seals. It also specifies the general experience you are required to have to obtain any one of our licenses and what we may consider as an alternative to the experience listed under the particular certification. Matthew Kiley, to answer your question, yes, the format is different this afternoon and for the next 2 days. In fact, all classes will be offered in this format, which is called a Teams live event format. There is no way for us to hear you or see you. We don't have an attendance record, but we can see questions that are posted in the chat or the Q&A. Normally, I would be moderating this for another instructor. However, I am a one-man band today, and so I'm both moderating and producing my own event, so bear with me. I'll try to get to your questions as they pop up. All right, where were we? Back to general experience. Prior to 1984, non-residential building experience gained with commerce, industrial compliance, or an agency or jurisdiction outside of Ohio enforcing a model residential or model non-residential code. Ohio is different in that we don't automatically accept, say, ICC certifications. Unlike many jurisdictions, we require that the experience also be met. If you hold ICC certifications, which means that you passed your examinations in those particular areas, then you will only need to complete Code Academy in order to meet the requirements for your certification. Many of our certified personnel hold more than one certifications. They collect them like decks of cards. I've talked to more than one who said, I'm trying to collect the full set. And that's mostly possible. The one certification which you may or may not be able to obtain by experience within the code enforcement world is the master plans examiner, because that has very specific requirements for education and registration as an architect or engineer. The trainee program does cut some of that out, but you still need to have the engineering or architecture degree and obtain your registration in Ohio by the end of your trainee program. All right, so you have an interim certification. What's next? I'm going to make that much larger. You need to take some examinations and come to Code Academy. So for a building official, you have to take your MM, MG, and BC. What does that mean? All right, MM is management, MG is legal, BC or building code. On our matrix, you will find all the examinations that you are needing to take for any particular certification, as well as the experience requirements for that certification and any requirements for professional licensure. As we discussed, Master Plans Examiner is the only one that it has the only pathway is this Ohio registration as an architect or professional engineer. We have several notes. The notes are important to read. And here in note 4 is how you get in touch with the examination organizations to schedule your examinations. I know you spent the morning with Paul telling you about preparing for the examinations. Here's the information for you to contact the organizations independently. I don't know that I need to say much more about that, so let's take a second here and look at the chats. John Rutherford, this is a different style of program. This is a live event, and so you will need to, and this is the format you'll be seeing for the rest of the week, and unless you're a building official, that you'll be seeing on Monday or Tuesday as well. All right. Jumping back in. So you have this interim. You've completed your examinations. You've completed your Code Academy. We're going to send you a certificate. You've completed your ethics, which is required for Code Academy. What do you do next? You fill out an application for full certification. This is free. We have removed a fee at this point. Our application fee is now $50, but the application to move to full certification has been diminished to $0. So it's actually a $10 savings over the interim to full period. It's a very simple one-page form. Put your name, your ID number, your address, yada yada. Click which application which certification you're asking to go to full for. Recertify that you haven't committed any felonies or other crimes. Even if you say yes, even if something has happened and you have obtained a new conviction, that is not necessarily a barrier to full certification. Knowing and helping us to understand what happened is a great way to start on the road to accomplishing that full certification. Then you certify and you sign. You return this with your examination results, your Code Academy certificate, your ethics certificate if you're doing it all at once. Or actually, you'll be sending your ethics certificate to us before, so we will issue your Code Academy certificate once you have sent in your ethics certificate and your attendance record. And then your certification will be moved to full certification. What does full certification mean for you? That means that you have a full certification you need to renew every 3 years. As part of that every 3-year renewal, you will need to obtain 30 hours of continuing education over a 3-year period. Every 3 years, you will need to take 3 hours of existing buildings instruction and 3 hours of Chapter 1 or Code Administration instruction. The reason that we've opened Code Academy to continuing education for fully certified personnel is that we are providing Chapter 1 Code Administration instruction and Chapter 34 existing buildings instruction as both as a part of the Code Academy and for those continuing education people. And since in the era of COVID, everything has gotten canceled or moved around, a lot of people were very worried that they were not going to be able to obtain that education had we not opened our education program to them as well. I'm going to check for questions. That's a good place to stop. Okay, nothing new. The education that you take must be board certified, BBS certified education. With the exception of architects, the board accepts AIA certified education for you. Here's the paragraph under F4, continuing education. Here's where you're required to complete Code Academy during your initial interim certification period, or Code Academy 2.0 if you've completed a Code Academy within 36 months of obtaining your initial certification. Here's that requirement of 30 hours of board-approved continuing education in your classification. If the Board of Building Standards is providing it, with few exceptions, it will be open to all certifications. Certainly anything that the Board of Building Standards provides that is meeting that required instruction of code administration, 3 hours of continuing education in code administration, or that 3 hours of existing buildings. If the Board of Building Standards is providing it, it will be approved for all certifications. Ethics, we are certifying the Ohio Ethics Agency's ethics online courses as well as their in-person trainings. We are simply granting those BBS approval for all certifications for 1 or 2 hours, however long it's offered for. You'll always be able to find that online, take it in your own time, and submit this certificate that they provide. We have assigned a course number to it simply for us to be able to keep track of it, but we don't require them to put that on your certificate. People ask me, does this apply to ESIs? Yes. Does it apply to MPE? Yes. Does it apply to RBO? Yes. Everybody, with the exception of medical gas piping and probably NRIUI and RIUI, which are non-residential or residential industrialized units inspectors. Everyone who is working in a building department or who would work in a building department in Ohio needs to meet these qualifications. Okay, you have your full certification, you have completed your education, you've filed for renewal. That happens every 3 years. If you didn't complete your education, you need to complete it. You'll have a 1-year grace period to get it finished. If you don't complete your education, though, you can't work because your certification isn't valid. That grace period gives you time to not have to reapply as an interim. If you don't complete your interim within the time period, you can't work. So let me be really clear with you. Complete your interim on time. If it expires, you have to wait for 1 year before you reapply. Complete your interim on time. Get your tests done. Come to Code Academy. I applaud you all for being here. Get it done. We are looking at a shortage where we're going to have 50% of our certified personnel retire by 2025. We need everybody in this area, as many people as we can get, because people are going to keep building buildings, and we don't want a shortage to force us into less enforcement of building safety rules. Checking for questions. Okay, good. Once you've received your full BI, can you apply for mechanical licensure? Yes, you can. Although we would prefer that you actually had some mechanical experience, you've already taken the examination. This came up recently. I think we should probably discuss that separately. ESI, nobody is required to have a full certification to seek employment. Once you've received your interim, you are fully qualified to apply for any job that lists your certification as a qualification for the job. For ESIs especially, you've already passed the test once you received your interim certification. The only thing left to do is attend Code Academy. Once you've attended Code Academy, you can apply immediately for your full certification. So I think that answers that question. Don't worry if you're being signed in as anonymous. That's going to happen. I'm not taking attendance for this class. And that's going to be true for all of the other live events that you see over the next couple of days. We're not going to take attendance in class. We're going to count on you to be honest and straightforward in your reporting of the classes that you attended, and to either have a supervisor sign off, or check in the morning and check out in the evening, or to sign before a notary and have them notarize your signature swearing that you took the classes that you stated. You're professionals. We're going to hold you to a degree of professionalism that I'm sure all of you possess. So everybody worries about this. Don't worry so much. All right, I'm going to wrap it up with just a quick note on discipline. Don't get in trouble. Let us know what's going on. Help us help you to stay out of trouble or to resolve issues that you're having. The worst thing that can happen is that you refuse to cooperate and something has gone terribly wrong and you are suspended or revoked. That's not the outcome that any of us favor. We prefer, if possible, to work with people to preserve certifications, to educate, to rehabilitate, so that our very professional certified personnel can continue to do the jobs that are needed to be done here in Ohio. Any questions? All right, seeing no questions, I'm going to cut this short. Our next meeting is at 2 p.m., not 1:30 as I previously stated, 2 p.m. Code Concepts with Steve Rigoli. Thank you all very much for coming and have a good afternoon. I'll see you in the next class.